Okay, we're recording. Awesome. Hello and welcome to Reset Your Thinking podcast. Now, today's topic is going to be around our mindset because you see, our mindset is the most valuable asset we have. And making a decision and then acting on it is probably the only way we can move forward. When we doubt ourselves, though, we sort of tend to hold ourselves back. And if we want success, and let's face it, we all do, whether it's in relationships, in our business, in our careers, our dreams, then self-doubt, fear, feelings, all those limiting beliefs, they have no place here. And so today I am so excited. I have a guest with me on Reset Your Thinking podcast, Nicola Marsh. Hey, Nicola, how's it going?
Hi, thanks for having me, Alex. It's good, thanks.
Oh, it's such an honor and privilege to have you on here today. And I just want to say thank you for being here with us today. And I'd like to take a few minutes now to introduce you, if that's okay, Nicola, because, you're pretty incredible. And I've been sitting back watching you. And Nicola is a best-selling and multi-award-winning author who writes feel-good fiction with a twist. Nicola, you've published, 70 books and sold over 8 million copies worldwide?
Yes, that's right.
Wow, that's pretty incredible stuff and a lot of hard work, I would imagine.
Lots of hard work.
Now, you were a physiotherapist for 13 years and, now you just love writing. You just adore full-time writing. And you've also got two gorgeous boys
Yes.
and you love spending time with them. And you also love fine food with family and friends. And of course, I'm not too keen on this one, but I'm going to say it anyway. And you barrack loudly for your beloved North Melbourne Kangaroos footy team.
I
Go
sure,
you!
sure do.
And that is fine, but you also love curling up with a good book. So that's fantastic. So welcome, Nicola. It's so great to have you here.
Thank
Now, you've been a writer for some time, obviously, writing 70 books. And I'm guessing writing is not an easy task.
you. No, it's not. But I think, I think it's my dream job. So
Yeah.
every day when I sit down at the computer, I think, wow, I'm so privileged to be able to write.
Yeah, how amazing is that? When you're doing something that you love and you're passionate about it, it just happens so effortlessly, doesn't it?
Ooh, well, sort of. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still hard work, but it's fun work.
I love that. I love that. You're right, because it's not just about sitting down and typing, is it? It's so much more than that. It's all about surviving the roller coaster of the creative journey as well. And I think, Nicola, and correct me if I'm wrong, but no matter who we are, no matter our title, self-doubt, fear of failure, the need for validation, perfectionism, writer's block in your case and mine, I too am an author, overwhelm and so much more is part of the journey. Would you agree?
Oh yes,
Yeah, yeah.
it's not just about having to write. It's everything else, as you just mentioned, that goes into that whole writing process.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when we're sort of going through these emotions, these feelings, it can feel like we're almost alone, and feels like, well, what else is there? And but actually what it is, it's just a part of the creative process, I think, no matter who we are. And so every author, every leader, every business owner goes through these emotions. Now, I'm really curious, what was it that drove you to becoming an author? Share a little bit about that.
Okay, well, I mean, as far as wanting to write, I mean, I always loved writing. I mean, ever since I was a kid, I was a huge reader first. I think back in primary school, I would read about 10 books a week.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
huge.
yes, I would always have my nose in a book.
Yeah.
And then in high school, I mean, I just loved English. I loved to write. And then in my teens, I started a diary.
Okay.
I mean, I think it was more that urge that like I just wanted to write something down in a book every single day. Um,
Wow.
and then, of course, I sort of got a bit sidetracked. I did work experience at Year 10 in a physiotherapy department. So
Hmm.
I thought, oh, well, this seems like a good job, so I'll be that.
So
Uh,
why physiotherapy, if you don't mind me asking, when writing and reading was something that was such a passion of yours?
I mean, I think I just didn't ever assume that I could ever make a living from writing, really.
Okay.
And it was more that I really enjoyed that work experience. And I thought, oh, well, I'll be that.
Yeah.
But I think I always had in the back of my mind, one day I'd like to write a book.
To write a book,
Of
yeah.
course, I was working full time and hectic.
Mm.
And then I think I was actually at work one day at lunch, and I thought, you know what, I'm sick of thinking about having to write a book. I think
Yeah.
I'll actually try it.
Try it. Awesome.
So I actually looked up some writing groups in Melbourne, and things sort of happened from there.
Happen from there. That's fantastic. Thanks for sharing that beautiful journey with us. So going back to when you used to read those 10 books per week, and that's huge, by the way, that's amazing. And I'm curious, was it fiction that you liked or non-fiction?
Yes, no, it was always fiction.
Always fiction. So it was fiction from the get-go for
Yeah,
you? Yeah.
absolutely.
Because you do love to write fiction, don't you?
Yeah, I sure
That
do.
is fantastic. And so after so you decided then that's it, I'm going to give this a go. And so what happened from there? What sort of catapulted from there? Because obviously, that's when your writing career commenced, I'm guessing. Would that be right?
Yes, it did. Like I said, I actually joined a writing group in Melbourne, and I can still think back to that first meeting where I walked in, and it was like they were talking a foreign language because they
Wow.
had synopses and character arcs, and I was like, what on earth is going on?
Yeah.
But it was actually there that I learned that Harlequin, Mills and Boon in London were always looking for new authors.
Ah.
And I thought, oh,
Mm.
perhaps it's worth me trying that.
Yeah.
And like I actually hadn't read um, Mills and Boon for lots and lots of years.
I remember Mills and Boon, by the way.
So I thought, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll try and come up with a fresh idea. And
Right.
that was back in 2003 when speed dating was quite new. I thought, oh well, that's probably a good theme for a book. So actually, yeah, wrote this story and I sent it off, and I was lucky enough they offered me a contract, and sort of
Well done.
things happened from there.
That is incredible. Congratulations to what an incredible journey. And isn't it interesting when we start something new, as you mentioned earlier, when you started your journey about writing and becoming a writer, it was all almost, as you said, foreign language. It's like anything new that we start, we sort of think, oh, it's that unconscious incompetence stage, because there's a 4 stage to learning with every single human, right? So when we first learn something new, we think, this is so uncomfortable. This is so unfamiliar. What do I do with it? I don't even understand half of what you're talking about because the language is so, as you said, foreign. But you stuck at it, Nicola. You didn't give up. And was that for what purpose did you stick to it? And did you not sort of think, oh, this is all too hard?
I mean, it was funny because I think it was about timing, because I was
Yeah.
lucky. I sold my first book when I was expecting my first child, and I thought,
Okay.
and of course, I mean, like after I sold that book, I mean, it was huge. So I thought
Yeah.
I'd love to actually work as an author.
Right.
So I thought I'll wait and see, because I had a year off of mat leave, and then I had half a year off of long service leave at half pay. So I thought I'll wait and see if I can earn as much from my books as I was working full time as a physio. And like after I did, like I just didn't go back.
That's awesome. Well done. Because that takes courage, doesn't it? Especially if you've got a new bubby on the way.
Yeah,
Um, you know,
it was
yeah,
big. Yeah.
scary stuff. You're taking a risk, but you're following your passion because you really loved what you were doing there, and you felt that that was your calling essentially.
Oh,
But yeah, that is a scary moment when you've got a new bubby, on the way, and then all of a sudden you've got this income, this secure income, this certainty, which we all thrive on, by the way, as human beings, and then suddenly you're going to do something new. So well done to you. I think that's very courageous, truly.
yeah, thank you. And
No, you're
actually,
so
sorry, I was just going to say, and as far as timing went, I mean, I've been lucky because, yes, it's been hard sort of working full time from home plus
yeah.
raising kids. So, I mean, I've had to write, with the kids climbing all over me at
Yeah.
times, but I'm also quite lucky that I've had that opportunity as
Yeah.
well, that I've been able to work full time, but also have that full time with them as well.
Totally, totally. No, we don't all get that opportunity, nor do we all have that privilege, I suppose, to be able to stay and work from home. Yet what I'm hearing is that you've just taken the risk. You've made the decision, you know what? I'm just going to give it a go and see what happens there, regardless of all that was going on around you with your new family and everything. And so you noticed then that you made the decision, you took the risk. It was scary, it was unfamiliar, but you still did it. That's awesome. That is fantastic. And look at you now, right? So I'm really curious, if you don't mind sharing, how do you choose your topics?
Well, it's actually interesting because I write across 3 subgenres. So I actually almost have to come up with an idea that I know will sell. So I've got 3 different publishers. It's actually interesting because often for me, it'll actually just come with a snippet of an idea.
Wow.
And then I'll actually sit down with a pen and paper and brainstorm on paper.
Yeah.
And then things just tend to flow from there. But
I
often
love that.
it's just a snippet.
It's just a snippet. And so that snippet, if you don't mind me asking, is that something you hear? Is that by you asking questions? Is that by you listening to conversations? I'm really curious as to, because like anyone, whether it's a business owner, whether it's a leader, a team, whoever, it's really important to be able to master your craft. But what is it what triggers that first step?
At times in the past, it's been like I might have heard something, so I'll actually hear like a headline in the news and think, oh, that might be an interesting idea to explore.
Yeah.
But actually, I mean, more often than not for me, I'll be half asleep at night, lying in bed, and some idea will just come out of nowhere. And I think, oh, I have to write that down right now. So I'm sort of in the dark.
I'm hearing your girlfriend. I did that last night, actually. I I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning.
And it's a thing where, I mean, I've had first lines of a book come to me at that time. I've had the title of a book, but more often than not, it's ideas, and I have to write it down.
Yeah.
Because I'm too scared that if I wake up in the morning and it's gone, I'll be like, wow, I'm sure I had this really, really fantastic idea last night. What's happened to it?
That is great. Thanks for sharing that strategy. I think it's really important because all of our ideas, as we dump them in on a bit of paper or in a book or whatever, I actually have a book that says my great ideas. And so I just write all the ideas. Doesn't mean you have to use them straight away. You could come back to them, and yeah, so you may come back to them in a year's time and say, oh, now I can write a book on that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I love that. Thanks for sharing your strategy. The other day you were live, you've been interviewed by, now I believe she was an author from the US. Is that right? Yeah, incredible. And you shared something so valuable and it had so much gold. If you don't mind, I'd like to ask you, you mentioned that you have your vision. So you actually write backwards. So what you do is you write backwards. Let me re-articulate that. You know the title of your book and you work backwards, and that's how you put the book in place by your title. Is that right?
Sort of. I mean, like for me, how it works is, like I said, I'll have an idea and I'll flesh that out. But I find I can't actually start writing the book till I come up with the perfect title.
Nice.
Because I think sort of that gives me a feeling of being sort of centered, and it's a whole theme that actually runs through the book.
Yeah.
So yes, it's sort of, like I said, it's always idea first, then I flesh that out, but I can't actually start to write till I have that perfect title.
I love that. That is such a great strategy, Nicola, because what I'm hearing from you is that you know your vision, you know your, I guess, where you're headed in terms of your outcome. And so you've got it there solid, but now what you're doing is you're putting the steps in place to achieve that outcome, essentially.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's such a wonderful strategy. Thanks for sharing. And so I wonder then, what does it give you being an author? And I'm not talking monetary, because I know, that comes with any business owner, really. What I'm talking about is, what does it give you as an individual, as a human, when you write your books and sell them? And yeah.
I mean, I think first up, it's just pure joy,
Yeah.
really. And it's weird because every time I see a book of mine on the shelf, or actually, comes home, and it's
I
actually
love
a
that.
real book, that I
Yeah.
sort of look at it and I think, I actually wrote that. And
Wow.
it's actually a weird feeling, because
Yeah.
I sort of look at it and I think, it's me. That's
Yeah.
actually me. And
You
it's
did that.
actually me in that book.
Yeah. Show us that book. That book looks incredible. Is that your latest book?
Yes, that was actually out here with HarperCollins Australia last year.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been
Wow, I love that. So that's a long way home.
yeah, that's a long way home, and it's actually out again in a smaller version in September this year, and its
Right.
sequel comes out in October, second
Yeah.
chapter.
Wow. Congratulations. And it will give you this feeling of elation, this feeling of
Oh,
significance, this feeling of almost, wow, I did that, those butterflies in your tummy.
it does, and like I said, each time I open a box of books, which I've been doing now for 17 years,
Yeah.
it really just never gets old.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, absolute joy.
Wow. That's incredible. And what about the feedback you get from your readers?
That's also great.
Yeah.
Though I think, if you're an author, you have to have very thick skin, because for every person that really, really loves the book, there can be a person who also hates it,
Yeah.
which is absolutely normal. I mean, a book I love, you might hate, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But yeah, to actually hear that a person's taken time to actually read my book, I'm always thankful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It must make you feel incredibly just a feeling of, I can't even, extraordinary, like a feeling of almost, you can't believe it. It's that's my book, and that's my book, and people have read it and they've loved it. But you also made a really good point too, Nicola, and I think it's with everyone, really. Again, no matter who we are, whether we are a leader of a team, whether we're a parent, whether we're an author, it doesn't really matter. A speaker, anyone really, we're going to get, it's not always going to be people liking our stuff or liking us, right? Or whatever it is, or liking what we do or how we deliver something. And you're right in what you're saying. It's really important to grow thick skin and not take things personally, because we can't be everything to everyone, can we?
No, no.
No. And there are going to be people who do love fiction books, but not necessarily is your book going to be the right fit
Yeah,
for that person. And that's okay.
absolutely.
But I'm curious, did that take you a while to learn that that's okay?
Uh, no, not really. I mean, I think at first, when I sort of had a few ones that I read, I thought, oh, that's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
I think it's important, because this is my job,
Right.
just to be focused on the good stuff, not the
Nice.
bad. Because I
Yeah.
think if you let that into your mind, then all these other doubts start to creep in. So
Yeah.
very important just to block out all that negative stuff.
Yeah. Totally, totally. And thank you for saying that, because that really matters. It really does. And often when we do get as leaders, because you are a leader in your business, you own your business, you run this successful business, and you're an author, and your team are all those people, and your clients are people who buy your books and read your books. And your team, you do have a team, because you have a team of publishers and a team of editors and a team of, and that's really important too. And I like what you said in that, focus on the outcome, focus on where it is that you want to go, and all those obstacles along the way, I guess, are learning curves, aren't they?
Oh, yes.
Life is full of peaks and troughs, and I think it's important to embrace them and learn from them. And sometimes I read comments from some of my clients who said that I've had some feedback from people about my business and it's not positive, but that's a great thing, because in every bad I think there's good, really, and we can learn from that feedback. How else can we do it differently? But also don't be so hard on ourselves, because as we said, we can't be everything to everyone.
Absolutely.
So thanks for sharing that. So are there any, and I trust you can answer this question, are there any of your books that you have written that relate back to your own personal experience?
Well, actually, up till now, I would have said no, because I've been very careful to really make sure everything I write is pure fiction.
Right.
Because often it's more fun to make things up rather
Yeah.
than think of real life and thinking, oh yes, I can use that. But I actually have got a book out soon. It's called The Boy Toy, and it's actually set in Melbourne.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to actually, sorry, I had it earlier. I was just going to show you.
Okay, that'll be fantastic.
Cover, The Boy
Oh,
Toy.
wow.
So that's actually coming out with Penguin Random House.
Terrific.
And it's actually what's called an Own Voices book. So what Own Voices is, it was actually a hashtag that started on Twitter first, and it was for authors from marginalised groups to actually write about their own experiences.
Okay.
So in the book, the hero's got a stutter, and I've got one which I've tried to hide my entire life.
Okay.
So actually, like, even having to talk here was quite hard for me.
Well, can I just say that I would never have known.
Oh, really? See,
until you raised it.
I can really hear it, but that's probably from me.
Right.
So in that book, what he goes through and what he feels and what he learns is actually, well, not exactly me, but it's lots of things I've gone through.
Okay. Wow.
So it's really interesting. So after 70 books, I finally, I think rather than trying to hide something my whole life, I've actually put it out there in a book, basically.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your vulnerability. That's so beautiful that you shared that with us. Thank you so much. That means so much. And I think, isn't it interesting how after all of these years, now you're ready to share something personal in your books, and how beautiful is that we can connect to that a little bit differently even. Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait to read that. So when's that?
That's actually coming out November 17th this year.
Fantastic. November 17th. I'll be looking out for that one, definitely. Thanks, Nicola. That's fantastic. And have you ever written a book that perhaps you thought would be a fantastic seller, a great seller, and hasn't sold as well?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, it's so sad. Well, I think it's sad. Well, actually, it's quite interesting, because I wrote a very multicultural book. I think it was about 2012. And I just love that book. And I think after all those books, it's hard to pick favourites, but this book is one of mine. And I sort of expected huge things from it. And at the time, I actually had a really top agent in his field, and I thought, oh, he's going to grab that book, and he loved it, and it's going to be published, and it'll be a movie.
Yeah. You got a dream.
But yeah, I think
so important. Yeah.
But it's actually, while in this industry, often it's about timing. And at the moment, lots of multicultural books, like the book I just mentioned, which is about like a half Indian girl and her Indian family here and all sorts of things. But back then, that sort of multicultural book wasn't really even probably published much at all.
Yeah.
So that actually sold to to quite a small publisher, and it didn't sell that many.
Yeah.
At all. And I love that book.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I just think I wish more people had had a chance to read it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Thank
actually,
you. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. That's so important, isn't it? And you mentioned some key things there, timing. And as much as you loved that book, um, it wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right place. It wasn't the right what was happening in the environment at that point in terms of our surroundings or whatever was happening in the world at that time. Obviously, it wasn't the right time. And that happens, doesn't it?
it sure does.
And I think that happens in every area of our life, every aspect of our life, again, no matter who we are. And we could put something out there that we think is going to really work, and it may not, but that doesn't mean not to keep moving. It just means, okay, test and measure. It's not working at this point.
Yeah.
I'll hold on to that. I'll just park it for a little bit and maybe see later on whether it's a better time or perhaps I can recreate it or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but not to stop moving. That's awesome. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that, Nicola. I have one more question for you because I'm really mindful of your time. And and I know I asked you this question at when you had the interview with a lady, but I'd really love to share it in this space if that's okay. When you write your books, do you have a special place or a special space in your home or wherever where you write your books?
Well, I think, as I answered earlier, it's actually on the couch.
Always on the couch?
Well, it's funny because each morning I actually log onto the computer in my office, but in my head, that's for my admin tasks. And
right.
I mean, I'm being an author, as you know, it's not just about writing the book. There's a lot of extra tasks involved. So I sort of try and spend about an hour each morning
Right.
trying to get those tasks under control, but it's always there, it's never ending. But to actually write, I take myself away from there and I actually sit on the couch with my laptop because I know that I'm going to just focus on trying to really belt those words out.
Yeah, absolutely. What you said there's so key because our environment really matters. It's what actually helps us to reset our thinking and really think about what it is and focus, as you said, on what it is that we want to do. I find myself too, I can't write my books in my office because my office has a different mindset, a different feel. I've created different emotions in my office. And like you, I like to sit in a separate room where I've set it up so beautifully with a comfy chair and a footstool and whatever and a little light. And that is my thinking space. Or the beach when it's not freezing cold or when we can go to the beach, but definitely, the beach, that's where it, so our environment is really key. And it's, I think, really important to be able to set our space strategically and resourcefully for us to be able to focus and, achieve the outcome that we want to achieve, no matter, again, what it is we do and who it is that, we work for, or whether it's ourselves or our team. It's important, again, to be able to create that space of focus so that we can achieve that outcome. So that's really key what you shared with us there. Thanks, Nicola. I really appreciate that. So before we end today's episode, tell us a little bit about where people can find your books and, because you've written so many incredible books. So yeah, tell us a little bit about if they do want to touch base with you and tap into all the wonderful books that you've written, where's the best place for them to go?
Well, I do have a website.
Awesome.
So it's www.nicolamarsh.com. And there you'll find links to all my books. You can actually buy them everywhere online as well. And I'm actually on social media everywhere. And you can also find those links there too.
Awesome. Fantastic. And is there a message that you'd like to share with people around mindset and a message, a parting word of wisdom or parting sentence of wisdom or a message of wisdom?
I mean, I think as far as mindset goes, it actually is exactly that. It's a mindset. So if you have a dream or if you have a certain goal, you actually really need to set your mind to it, focus, and try and do everything that you can to actually make it come true.
I love that. Fantastic. Nicola, thank you so much for your time today. It has been it's been a pleasure and an honour to be here and have a conversation with you, but also to learn from you and to our viewers and listeners as well. So thank you, Nicola.
Thank you, Alex. Thanks so much for having me.
You're so welcome. Thank you for being here.